Hello everybody, and Jess here, and welcome back to Sabikui Bisco, episode 7. Episode 7, right? Episode 7 indeed. We are past halfway through the season already. Man, how the time flies. And we are slowly nearing the acquisition of the Rust Eater. At least so it would seem. Because from what we've seen in the preview, the Rust Eater will be stolen. By whom? We have no idea. But before we can even get the Rust Eater so that it can be stolen, Bisco and Milo and Pawu will have to defeat the tube snake or whatever it was called. I can't find any resemblance to a tube, let alone a snake with its finger legs and legs. It is quite unlike any other creature we've seen so far in this show. Quite unlike anything we've seen in this show, to be perfectly honest with you. It's something straight out of the Eternal Cylinder. I think that's the first comparison that comes to mind, and not something straight out of Sabikui Bisco, which makes me extremely curious about its origins. But we will have to defeat it so that we can get access to the Rust Eater. Now, will Pau's presence make it easier or harder? That remains to be seen. She seems to be dead set on fighting Bisco because she believes that Bisco killed Milo. Will she notice that Milo is alive and well in time? Probably. I certainly hope that she will. Or maybe Milo will call out to her and she will join our heroes in a fight against the snake, and perhaps even on their journey. Who knows? Who didn't join our team was Tyrol. Yeah, her name was Tyrol. It's the not squid, the jellyfish girl. She warmed up to our main heroes, of course, and our main heroes, particularly Bisco, warmed up to her. They exchanged their names. Tyrol even, at the very end, thanked them and wanted to see them again in the future, and I have a feeling that we will see her many a time. But in the end, she decided to go her own way, which is kind of sad, kind of disappointing, but oh well. It is the decision that she made, and I'm glad that she warmed up to us. That's always nice. We're and by we I mean Bisco and Milo are slowly building up a team of allies, a team of friends, and perhaps soon enough they will be traveling, the four of them, back to the city to rescue Jabi, and then the five of them will venture forth towards their next adventure. We don't know. We'll see. It all remains to be seen. Right now, we have to destroy the tube snake, and we have to grab the Rust Eater, and we need that Rust Eater to be stolen from us. Probably by Kurokawa, or by the evil Mushroom Keeper. Those are the two possibilities, in my mind at least. But we won't know what exactly happens if we don't see what happens. So I'm gonna give you guys some subs and a timer, and I'm gonna give myself some sound. And as you can already see, we're starting with the OP, so we're probably gonna be thrown right into the thick of things as soon as the OP ends. So let's not prolong it any further, and let's start episode 7 of Sabikui Bisco, version by Sabs, please, and do it in 3, 2, 1, go. I love the OP. I absolutely adore it. Best OP of the season, hands down. And I'm drinking a green. What's it called? Not green tea. Green rooibos. Yeah. Right, there are also the sand whales that we are yet to see. Will we see them? I have no clue. I have no doubt that they are an actual animal, actual creature from the source material. Will they appear in the anime? Anyone's guess. Yep. I am absolutely in awe of this OP. I'm sorry, Symphogear. I'm sorry. There's some great music in Symphogear, but Bisco's OP wins my heart. Last season there was Princess Principal OP that was so amazing. This season it's Sabikui Bisco OP. We're getting some great OPs recently. And some great music! Don't antagonize her. I know you're a little shit, but don't antagonize her. Maybe speak with Milo. Bisco, you little shit. Yeah, you have bigger issues at hand. You probably want to kill this thing, not the Bisco. Is there more of them, or is it this long? It can use the fingers to grab? Okay. How did you make it up there? That's a scream of a young girl. This creature gets weirder and weirder. And now it has a tongue. Correct me if I'm wrong, but crabs are able of like shedding their limbs to escape danger. Yeah, Akutagawa is just gonna shed his limb. Oh! Oh, that's worse. uh, hell yeah. Shooting in the throat? Did he make a harpoon bow out of her staff? Or what just happened? Oh, there's more of them! No, no, it has two heads. Mushrooms? Mushrooms. Final blow by Akutagawa? Or Akutagawa is gonna catch them? Okay, so they just won. To save you. Yeah. Hmm. Rust eaters. Grab it and heal Pawu as soon as possible. Spores. Hmm. And so it was just a legend. It's not really a special mushroom. Yep. You can just camp here and hunt the next day. Does it react to blood? Does Bisco have some special blood? Yeah, of course he wouldn't know. He doesn't. You thought he had access to doctors? Or is Mushroom Keeper blood special? Hmm. Oh. Okay, that's interesting. Okay, Pau joins the team. Rust Eater, a bit of Bisco's blood. Pau is coming around. Okay. I like it. Character development. He was an evil Mushroom Keeper. Simple as. Bring your bike into the tunnel, you don't want to get separated. It's the evil Mushroom Keeper. No! Of course it's him. Of course it would be him. But he doesn't know Rust Eater is useless without Mushroom Keeper's blood. Shouldn't it be a fungicide instead of antibacterial thing? I love his voice. That's what's gonna happen. And what the fuck is this? Oh, so now Bisco is gonna get rusty. Should have harvested more when you had the time, instead of just a single sample. Okay, there is some sense to it. Unless you lose the cure on your way there, or you get ambushed by Kurokawa and it shatters, or. There's way too many ways it can go wrong. Oh, we have love interest. We have a love interest for Bisco. Hell yeah. The overly rendered lips. I'll be cheering for them. I'm down. Bisco X Pawu, sign me the fuck up. Milo can have Tyrol, Bisco can have Pawu. I'll be happy. Hmm? Oh. Oh? Excuse me, what the fuck? Kurokawa should have killed him when you had the chance. Jabby. Okay, so now Bisco and Milo will have to rescue Pau and Jabby. Hmm? It's not the size that matters, it's how you use it, Bisco. Nah, Bisco is built different. He already feels good enough. Kurokawa! Milo, we have your sister. Bisco, we have your master. Give yourselves up. I love his voice actor. Chained up Pau and chained up Jabi is my guess. You're not gonna sneak in. Yep, I agree. Um, you don't look good, Milo. Oh, was Milo trying to put Bisco to sleep to give him to Kurokawa to get his sister back? Was that the plan? Or was he planning to put him to sleep and then go on his own? Because he's so worried about Bisco. Well, that's a bit of a predicament. He certainly taught you how to have a sharp tongue. Hey, it's not going down so easily. They're gonna beat the shit out of each other, then they're gonna reconcile. Too much? Oh, You sneaky little bastard. Ooh, this visual. Hmm. That's an interesting direction. It's a very interesting direction the story just took. That's an extremely interesting direction. Hmm. Thing is, as soon as Bisco wakes up, he's gonna go after them anyway. And I can't imagine that sleeping potion thing that Milo injected him with would work for particularly long. Hmm. Here I thought that Bisco and Milo will set off, both of them, to rescue the people most precious to them. But it seems like it's gonna be just Milo. Hmm. I don't know what predictions to make, honestly. I really don't know. Okay. Big showdown between Milo and Kurokawa. Okay, so I'm assuming Milo will go against Kurokawa, and then at the last moment, Deus Ex Machina, Bisco will appear and save the day. That's my prediction. But, uh, come on. There we go. Let's go through this episode again and see if we maybe get any other hints as to what is going to happen next. This creature gets weirder and weirder every time it appears on screen. Initially, I thought it was just a single snake, then I thought there were multiple of them. Now we know that it's one snake, but it has two heads. Honestly, I'm not even surprised anymore. Whenever they show me in Sabikui Bisco, I'm just gonna take it at face value because, damn. Did we see the flip? No, not really. Oh, yeah. The turn. Yeah, that's just a sliding PNG. No, not necessarily. He does jump. A bit late. I thought he would jump to avoid the motorcycle, but no, he jumped a bit late to take a shot, like, rotated. Kind of weird. Both the motorcycle and Pau are CG. Yeah, and you can even see that Pau's cloak is particularly low poly. Yeah, but you see it only when you go frame by frame. What I notice again, and what this series gets properly about CG and about recreating 2D art in CG, is that every every bit of Pawu consists of the base color and the shadow. There's no excessive highlights, there's no gradients. It's a hard cut between the base color and the shadow. Additionally, the line art is fairly scratchy, as if it was actually hand drawn. That also adds to its 2D-ness. Can't really say the same about the bike. When you see it up close, yeah, there is some gradients here. You don't usually see gradients in 2D art. You see a hard cut between colors, but oh well, whatever. That CG scene doesn't last for particularly long, so you don't really have the time to analyze it and fully realize that it's CG, and then it's already over. So that's how CG should be used, right? Some tricky movement, some tricky camera shot that would be very hard to do with 2D, you do it with CG. But everything else, you do with 2D. Yeah, Bisco really is a little shit. Someone sent me on Discord some behind-the-scenes footage of Bisco's voice actor acting the role, and he was having the time of his life with it. And I can see that he's really into the character. I really like it. Yeah, this creature is just what the fuck is it? Yep, Paul got taken and knocked out, it would seem. And it has a long prehensile tongue. Yeah, thankfully crabs can shed their limbs and regrow them with time, so it'll be fine. Milo already here he shows a lot of determination and a lot of fighting spirit. It kind of seemed initially that Milo's stubbornness and his fighting spirit at the end, as he was fighting with Bisco, kind of came out of nowhere. Maybe kind of came from the threat to Paul that he witnessed. But he already showed signs of it. For example, here. Yeah, you can already see that change in him. He's determined. He has fighting spirit. Bisco has been, teaching him how to fight, how to handle himself. I'm fairly sure this disappears within. No, I thought it disappears within a frame. But we have actually a couple of frames where you can see it actually bends, right? It gets hit somewhere where it can bend, and it actually bends. Where is it? Come on. Yeah, it actually bends. First the mouth is forward, then it bends slightly, and then it's sideways. That's some amazing attention to detail. And when watching it, it really looked like it disappeared within a frame, maybe with a smear frame here and there. But no, the actual sequence of it bending and changing direction and disappearing off screen, it was actually animated. They actually created those couple of frames. And it was hit with the harpoon. Yeah, mushrooms. Mushrooms are a great way to they're a universal tool, let's be honest. Need to scale a wall? Mushrooms. Need to light up a tunnel? Mushrooms. Need to eat something? Mushrooms. Need to kill a huge ass finger snake? Mushrooms. I really like it. The mushrooms themselves, right? There is they're kind of like magic in a lot of worlds where magic can do anything. Magic is a universal tool. In this case, mushrooms are a universal tool. They are a medicine, they're a source of food, they help against rust, they are a tool, they are a weapon. If you grow a big mushroom and dig into it, they can make shelter. They really are anything. I like it. I like it. I think I can't remember if I already mentioned it in one of the previous episodes, but I really like how biopunk Sabikui Bisco is. You don't often see biopunk. Aetherpunk is fairly popular. Steampunk, less so, but still. Dieselpunk, not all that popular, oddly enough. Clockpunk is usually connected with steampunk. Biopunk, you don't often see that. And I really appreciate another piece of media in the biopunk genre. Yeah. Also, one important thing, notice how at no point is the snake CG. Because it's an important piece in every scene. It's not something to appear for only a couple of frames. It's not something that only appears in the passing. It's not something in the background. It's a prominent part of both the visual side of every scene and the storytelling side of every scene. It's our driving thing in this mini arc, let's just call it, in this chapter. That's why it's not CG. The important things are drawn. And I like how it was immediately turned into a piece of scenery. I like it. I don't know what. You know what? I know why I like it. Because it really shows its colossal size. When it's animated and drawn the same way that characters are, differently from the background, you don't really get a all that great of a feeling of scale. Now, there are a couple of frames, like here, where you get that it's big, right? In here, you also get that it's big because it's slightly blurred, it's slightly dimmed, so it's far behind. But showing it as a piece of scenery and not as a creature really shows its massive size. Yeah, and even here, it's a piece of scenery. It's a piece of the background. It's big enough to be a landmark, essentially. If they were to leave it here, just grab the mushrooms and Kurokawa never came here, never took it, the skeleton of this thing would, with time, become a landmark. It's so absolutely huge. It's so enormous. Maybe even some some village, some settlement would appear amidst its bones. Some pieces of fabric stretched between its ribs to form shelter, right? I really, I really like it. I really like the trope of huge skeletons and corpses of enormous creatures. I really like the how the village of the children that were calcified used the skeleton of that huge robot as a part of their village. And I would love it if this also stayed here as a skeleton. But unfortunately, Kurokawa happened. And he took the entire body with him. It's odd, something's not right. Yeah, it's just a regular mushroom. Or not. Yeah, and Milo already here, that's also a little bit of, how should I say it? A little bit of a foreshadowing of the ending of this episode. Milo is already defiant towards Bisco. Not for any, bad reasons. Milo is Bisco's doctor and Bisco's friend and Bisco's companion, so he cares about him a lot. And he will defy Bisco if need be. He didn't need to resort to any drastic measures here, because he noticed that the Rust Eater works thanks to Bisco's blood, so Bisco went back, and because apparently they don't need to look for another snake, they can just use what they have after all. Yeah. But he already was showing signs of defiance. Mushroom keepers, either they are kept, they keep themselves so apart of regular world's medicine that they have no need for the concept of blood types, because they don't do transfusions, they don't do anything that has to do with a blood type, right? Instead of a transfusion, they eat a blood mushroom and they are suddenly filled with blood. That kind of deal. So they don't need the concept of a blood type. Or Mushroom Keeper's blood is actually special. Mushroom Keeper blood is the key to unlock the full potential of mushrooms. That might very well be the case. Yeah, only awakens after coming into contact with Mushroom Keeper blood. I love how fun of a character Bisco is. I really do. The production of the Rust Eater is almost a riddle, such mysterious yet effective technique and pharmacology. Perhaps mushroom keepers aren't the barbarians the world claims they are. I'm glad Pau came around. She isn't stuck in her old ways, in her old thinking. She isn't, constantly suspicious about Bisco and about mushroom keepers and whatnot. No, she sees that Milo likes Bisco and went with him of his own volition, and that Bisco helped find the cure and all that, and she changes her mind about mushroom keepers. Perhaps they are scientific saviors. If that is true, what about that tale? Yes, exactly. The tale of the evil mushroom keeper. I'm assuming it's simply an evil mushroom keeper. That's all there is to it. There isn't some big, huge mystery or anything like that. It's just a mushroom keeper who either wants to get to his goal of eradicating rust through any means necessary, even if it involves human experimentation and whatnot, or he's just plain evil and just wants to do evil. Could very well be either. What is this thing? Why is it necessary? Why is it necessary? Like, I can understand the escargot fighter, right? The escargot part of that fighter was actually using its venom or acid or whatever. So, sure, I can understand that, but this? They have propellers? Or is this something like a flying fish that they're using instead of like a helium balloon or a hydrogen balloon? They're using a fish, a flying fish. I guess that's it. We've already been shown that fish can fly, and not just fish, but aquatic creatures. We've seen the flying pufferfish, we've seen flying whales. So maybe this fish is the main source of lift for this vehicle, and the propellers are there just for VTOL mode, and then they rotate to propel it forward. Probably, maybe. But how did Kurokawa find them? Did did Pau have some tracker on her that she didn't know of? Pau isn't one of Kurokawa's underlings, from what I understand, so it's not like he would be able to just, inject her with something under the guise of a medicine, and it was really a GPS tracker. How did he find them? And I love this man's voice. You know what? I have to check it. I have to check it. Who else did he voice? I know that I probably checked it already in like the first episode, but holy shit. Sabikui Bisco. Let's check it on Mal. Sabikui Bisco, my animalist. Kurokawa. Tsuda Kenjiro. Anybody that I would recognize. Tatsu in Goku Shufudo Part 2. Oh, I didn't know it got a second season. Someone in Mobile Suit Gundam. Orsted in Mushko Tensei. Haven't seen Mushko Tensei. Narrator in Hataraku Saibo Black. Oh, that's interesting. Somebody in Kumo desu ga nanika? Merazofis. Wait, Emperor in Arknights, in Holy Night Light. It's it's an animated short for Arknights. Oh, so that's how I recognize this voice. That's how I recognize it. Nanami Kento from Jujutsu Kaisen, Ogata Hyanosuke from Golden Kamui. Oh, that's a lot of roles. That is a lot of roles. Osan from Chubio Gekikatsu Boy. Someone in Copcraft. Hakuto in Mao-sama Retry. I haven't seen Mao-sama Retry. This gives me a reason to watch Mao-sama Retry. This actually gives me a reason to watch Mao-sama Retry. I'm not a huge fan of the changes that the anime made compared to the manga, particularly the changes of character designs. But I'm gonna watch it just for this voice actor. Someone from JoJo. Someone from Baki. Oh, that's a lot. That's holy shit, I'm still scrolling. I'm still scrolling. That is a lot of roles. That is a lot of roles. I'm gonna favorite you, just so I can track you. And Mao-sama Retry gets to be on my plan to watch list. Okay, let's get back to watching this anime. He's wounded. Yeah, the fact that he's wounded doesn't matter. He's still dangerous. Rust bullets. That's a dangerous weapon. It's basically a cancer bullet. It's basically a cancer bullet. Imagine being able to create bullets that cause cancer. Instantly, to boot. Pau didn't want to take the injection. Instead, she gave her portion to Bisco. Use it if you need it. I'm kind of wondering why Bisco didn't take it immediately. Or why they didn't split the portion into 3. Because even if a smaller portion wouldn't have been able to completely cure rusting, I'm assuming it would at least be able to hold it back or maybe revert it, at least mostly, right? If everybody took, well, they have two portions, if they split it into three, if everybody took, uh, my math fails me, one, no, shit, 1/3 of two, two-thirds? Yeah, if everybody took 2/3 of a portion, I'm assuming the effects would still be significant. So, kind of weird that they only prepared two portions. Give one to Bisco, maybe even give him a little less. Give one to Pawu, and leave one for Jabi. I like that Bisco is finally blushing. Hurry up and defeat Kurokawa, then you can come heal me. Heal me, daddy. Do you remember the first time we fought? You're the only one who's called me pretty after seeing my rust, Akaboshi. Now that I get a better look at you, you're quite dashing yourself. Where... There we go! The overly rendered mouth. You have a cute face. Pau really is a waifu of the show. It's so overly rendered and overly articulated. You know that it was made for the sole purpose of being attractive. They did the exact same thing in Tsukito Laikato no Sferatu, where Irina was eating something. They would draw every single tooth of hers separately, and her eyes would be overly rendered, and her mouth would be overly rendered, and oh, I love it. Yeah, sure, you were threatening him. You were threatening him with a good time, is what you were doing. Yeah, what's that? I don't think we've seen anything like that before. Glowing red, black eyes, black sclera with glowing red pupils. Some weird bulging growth or veins or something around the eyes. Have we seen something like that? I don't think we have. Kurokawa has some weird shit at his disposal. Now this is weird. Why didn't she just go a step further? Why? Like, I know that it was done for a for drama, right? It's always like this. The male hero is enraged and has free reign over the evil guy and puts a knife to their throat or a gun to their head and asks, "What did you do to X?" or "Where is Y?" or stuff like that. And that always allows the bad guy to escape the situation. Always. Always. It always allows the bad guy to get out. I don't like it. You know what? That's the first thing in Sabikui Bisco so far that I don't like. Pawu, it doesn't fit Pawu's character. It doesn't fit her established character. She was so extremely cut with Bisco when she only had a hunch, well, maybe not a hunch, but a rumor that it was Bisco who killed her brother. He was already after Bisco's head, giving it her all to kill Bisco. She went through the lengths of traveling halfway across the continent or however far they needed to go. I think someone posted maps on Reddit on r/anime that they basically went like halfway through Japan, and Pau was chasing after them to get revenge on Bisco. And now she doesn't take the chance to kill Kurokawa? That strikes me as odd. That strikes me as something very much out of character for her. She noticed that Kurokawa did something to her man, and now she's just gonna let it go? She's not gonna attack him when she has a chance, when he's wide open? Is his presence this imposing that the very fact that he's standing there is enough to repel her attack? Seems very, very weird. Here is Jabi. That's an interesting way of hunting. Can I give them that? Yeah, Bisco went after Akutagawa. And Milo is very cut with Bisco. You should be laying there. You should be resting. You're in no shape to fight. Which again makes me wonder, why did Bisco not take the rust cure? Is he really keeping it for Pau? Doesn't show even a smidgen of cooperation. Yeah. And here is Kurokawa. And here's Pau, and here's Jabi. The instant change in Milo. Well, not instant, it took a couple of frames. Yeah, literally a couple of frames. But the change in his eyes. And the change in his demeanor. And I agree with Bisco. The fat is the best part of a pig. The fat is the best part of any meat. Fun fact, there are flavors that are water-soluble, and there are flavors that are fat-soluble. If you get rid of the fat, you get rid of the fat-soluble flavors. That's why when you buy a decent quality instant ramen, it will have, besides having a little sachet with the flavoring, it will have a little sachet with oil, with flavored oil. Because this is the only way to get certain flavors in there. And when you boil any sort of soup, you also use a little bit of the fat to give it a flavor. A lot of flavor, I'd wager to see that most of the flavor of meat comes from the fat. That's why Wagyu, for example, is so well regarded. It's overgrown with fat. There's a lot of fat and there's a lot of meat, more or less half-half. And that's why it has a lot of flavor. The more fat you have in your beef, the better quality that beef is, basically. That's why fatty fish are also the most flavorful. It's a little bit of a piece of trivia. What's the matter? You tell me what's the matter, Milo. You tell me. You're not hiding the fact that you're kind of weird. I really was thinking at first that Milo was about to put Bisco to sleep and turn him in exchange for his sister. But I think I thought too lowly of him. He wanted to put Bisco to sleep so that Bisco can stay safe and Milo himself can go and fight. That's actually interesting. An interesting story, bit of story. An interesting parallel to yesterday, because I'm playing Punishing Grey Raven. I get back into it. It plays much better on an emulator than on the phone, by the by. So if you dropped punishing Grey Raven because it wasn't great on a phone. Install BlueStacks, grab yourself a controller, it's much better. But I played through Lucia's story. I'm not gonna spoil it, but it was fairly similar to this. That's an interesting parallel. And yeah, Milo is very defiant, but that's because he cares a lot about Bisco. I know your organs are a wreck. He's a doctor. You can't fool your doctor this easily. Milo is a great doctor. He knows that Bisco suffers a lot. Can't deliver a real kick. Your vision's blurry. You're far sicker than Pau or even Jabi. But Bisco is too hot-headed to try to come to some resolution, or let alone to agree with Milo. Bisco doesn't have that far thinking, right? He disregards consequences. If I die, I die, whatever, but I have to try. That's basically his thinking. You're my most treasured friend, and I don't want you to die. And yeah, I'd say the same thing right back, Milo. That's actually an interesting conundrum. That's actually a very interesting conundrum. Usually, it would be that Bisco would go and do the dangerous thing, and Milo would be only supporting him. Because Bisco is a much stronger fighter than Milo is. Milo is a doctor, a medic, a support class, you could say. But now they are more or less on equal footing, right? If Milo goes there, he might very well die. Because he's inexperienced, he can't fight all that well quite yet, he doesn't have too many tricks up his sleeve, like, all those various mushrooms. He did show that he has some tricks up his sleeve, right? Like the white goo that he created out of his arrow to catch that rabbit thing, right? So he does have some things, but he's not quite as strong a fighter as Bisco is. He's not quite as athletic, for example. Meanwhile, Bisco, a much better fighter than Milo, is severely injured. And if Bisco goes there, he might very well die due to his injuries. That's a very interesting thing. Very interesting dilemma. And a very interesting way to sort of equalize them when it comes to this choice, who's gonna go there and rescue Pau and Jabi. Very interesting. You never taught me to lose to a sick man at death's door. Yeah, we get some really nice fight scene. What was it that shattered? Oh no. Bisco avoids the arrow and... What's the debris? Is the debris just for a visual effect? I think it might be just for a visual effect. I like how quickly Bisco lifts his hand. It was used a couple of times before in this series, where you have a little bit of action slowed down, then it jumps in the span of a frame, and then it's slowed down again. And it's the same thing here. Slow down preparation for the punch, quick lift of the hand, and then slowed down punch itself. I really like it. Yeah, Milo isn't giving up so easily. And again, in a span of a single frame. And then we see some slowdown. I'm sorry, Bisco, but I have some tricks up my sleeve. This is a really cool visual. Notice how during their fight, their faces aren't quite as rendered. You have the standard anime injury, that being a couple of red lines. It's not too rendered too much. But in this particular shot, notice the shadows. You don't usually see this many shadows on characters in Sabikui Bisco, right? You don't see shadows on the folds of Bisco's coat right now, for example. But here there is a highlight on Milo's head. There's even some gradients, some smudges. There's shadows on his coat, shadows on his bandage, shadows on his goggles. There's a lot of smears of blood and of dirt, a lot of smears on Milo's face. It really adds to the dramaticness, to the drama of this moment. Don't give me that look. I'll save Pau and Jabi-san for sure. Will you now? Now, Milo is smart. So he just might, actually. He just might figure something out. Yeah, Milo stands against Kurokawa. Jabi is alive and well, at least. And did his rusting get better? There's a little bit of rust on his forehead. I can't remember how much rusted was he. I think it was mostly limited to his torso. It was nothing like Pau, where half her face is rusted. Kurokawa is certainly losing. We can already tell that. This is interesting. His eye, the inner part of his eye, I forgot the English name for it, is stretched horizontally. It creates an ellipse. It's very often used to show a lot of anger. And not just any anger, but very untamed anger. Something to pay attention to. When you see someone in anime having those horizontal eyes, chances are they are extremely angry at something. Change the grip of the knife, and I'm assuming Kurokawa will... Yeah, it's already been cut. I can see his... No, I thought it was his gun that was cut, but that's a lamp. There's no way Kurokawa will win. I mean, we know that. The heroes of the story always win. That's already been established time and again. So, we know mostly how it's gonna end. We don't know exactly how it's gonna end. What can I say, except it was a great episode. We got a lot of character growth, both for Milo and for Pau. We got a setup for the next, maybe not quite the next arc, but for the finale of the current arc. The finale of the current arc will be defeating Kurokawa, rescuing Pau and rescuing Jabi, and perhaps even curing them of rusting. But yeah, actually, we did get some setup for the next arc. The evil Mushroom Keeper. I have a feeling that's gonna be the next arc. Now that leaves me wondering. It's episode 7. In episode 8, we're gonna fight Kurokawa, and that's basically the climax of the arc. What will be left for episodes 9, 10, 11, 12? That still leaves 4 episodes. Assuming episode 9 will be a downtime episode where everybody celebrates being healed and grabs the recaptures the city out of Kurokawa's hands, or whatever they're gonna do. I'm not quite sure. That leaves us episode 10, 11, and 12. Not quite enough to start another arc, because they would have to stop that arc halfway through, if not sooner. Unless they are absolutely positively sure there's gonna be a second season, I hope they don't do that. And at the same time, 3 episodes is far too many to put a lot of filler in. Actually, I think they might spend this time setting up the next arc, the Evil Mushroom Keeper arc. And they're gonna end this season at our gang discovering that the evil Mushroom Keeper is at large. And dun dun dun, what's gonna happen next? Watch this anime and support us so that we can make a second season. Basically. Unless I'm mistaken, Sabikui Bisco is 24 episodes. I don't think it is, though. Sabikui Bisco, I think it was listed as 12. It is listed at 12. Not even 13, it's 12. Yeah, not sure what they're gonna do with the last few episodes. They will probably set up the evil Mushroom Keeper arc. I'm hyped. I'm hyped for the next episode, at the very least. And I'm interested to see what they're gonna do next. And because if we actually get access to a universal cure for rust, what is it gonna mean? If we cure Pawu, if we cure Jabi, if we cure other people in the city who are sick with rust, what's left? Right? If the threat of rust is essentially no more because we have a cure, what's left for Bisco? What's left for Milo? You'd think that all that would be left for them is to kind of settle down, for Milo to open the biggest clinic of treating rust, for Bisco to go back to traveling the world with Jabi. But it's not gonna end this early. The light novel is still ongoing, I believe. Or is the source of it... Yeah, I think the source is the light novel, not manga. Huh. Or perhaps something is gonna be thrown into the cogwheels of progress, and it's gonna set them back because the rust eaters were spoiled in transportation and they need to go and hunt another snake or something. I don't think that's what's gonna happen. I hope that's not what's gonna happen, but it is a possibility. You can't say it's not. Yeah, I will be awaiting the next episode with bated breath. I'm certainly glad that Pawu joins our side now. Last episode, Tyrol joined us. This episode, Pawu joined us. I'm glad that a lot of those misunderstandings about Bisco are being slowly but surely deconstructed. And the misunderstandings about Mushroom Keepers as a whole, right? Because that was the preconception of people here, that all Mushroom Keepers are spreading rust. But now that Pawu knows that they are not spreading rust, they are in fact helping cure rust, trying to cure it, trying to help with it. And now that we will actually have a cure for rust, I think the next arc is definitely the evil Mushroom Keeper arc. I'm almost 100% sure of that. But we'll need to watch future episodes to know about it fully. I'm super glad that we get some character development, I'm super glad that we get some fights, and I'm super glad that we get so many setups. But what are you glad about after watching this episode? Let me know in the comments what you thought of it, what you thought of my reaction, what you think of my theories. Just if you've read the source material, please don't spoil me anything. I want to experience it myself, completely blind. That is the proper way to react to media and to comment on it, to watch it blind. I've always been convinced about it, and I stand firm in that conviction. If you like this video, leave a like. If you didn't like it for some reason, leave a dislike, but tell me what that reason is so I can improve on that. Subscribe to the channel so you get notified of future releases, not only Sabikui Bisco, but also Dolls Frontline, Tokyo 24Ku, Arifureta Season 2, and Symphogear. Episode 7 of Symphogear went live yesterday, and episode 8 of Symphogear also went live on my Patreon, to which a link is down in the description and you can join it. And for $10 you get early access to non-seasonal shows. This season it is Symphogear. If you want to watch it early, that's the place to go. And for absolutely any support on Patreon, even just $1, you will get access to a special secret channel and a special orange role on my Discord server. So if you're into that, you can support me for a lower price and get that reward of yours. And of course, my Discord server is open to absolutely everybody. Link in the description. Come join us. Talk about anime, talk about gacha, talk about food, talk about whatever you want to talk about. Anything else? Oh, yeah, I always forget to mention that you should spread this video. You should share it with people who you think would enjoy watching it. Because the more you spread the word about my channel, the more people watch it, the more YouTube itself spreads the word, and the more the channel grows, and the happier I am, because more people watch my content, and that is the goal of every single content creator, to have people watch their content. Yeah, that's gonna be it. So, that's gonna be it from me for today. So as always, do all the good stuff, and I'm gonna see you guys in the next one. Cheers! And this is yet another benefit you get as a Patreon supporter. You get to be in the credits of every single episode of mine.